Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Floyds Brewing Company, and they're out of Munster, Indiana, and this is their Zombie Ice. So they're calling this one an Undead Double Pale Ale that comes in at 8.5% alcohol by volume, 55 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just over 5 weeks old. So we have one of the newest releases from Floyds here, and this is essentially a double version of their iconic Zombie Dust, which is an American pale ale brewed with solely Citra hops. On the side of the can here, it says, crafted with an unholy amount of Citra hops. This Double Undead Pale Ale heralds the zombie evolution after the dust has settled from the apocalypse. I see what they did there, and I love the label. It's fantastic. It's just, this is one of the best labels that I have seen in a hot minute. Got the zombie dust. It's not normal. So yeah, I love zombie dust. To me, zombie dust is, did I say zombie? Zombie ice. When I say zombie, I think zombie dust is just one of those classic, fantastic American pale ales that kind of drinks like an American IPA, let's be honest. One of the better pale ales out there. I don't think it's like my favorite anymore, but you know, going back 10, say 8 to 10 years, definitely was one of my favorite pale ales. Still a delicious beer to date, and I love that kind of zombie dust, at least here in the Buffalo, New York area, and I know a lot of other areas in the Northeast and Midwest. Zombie dust has kind of turned into a shelfie. Yeah, it's a shelfie beer. It's a fantastic shelfie beer, but it's a shelfie beer at this point, and that's fantastic. Oh my God, what just hit me? A waft of citrus and like stone fruits. Yes. So I don't know, to me, when I saw this, I was like, is that necessary? Like a double version of zombie dust? Like, do we need a double pale ale? Is kind of what I'm going for. Maybe we do. So here we are. That looks beautiful. Kind of looks like zombie dust to some extent. Has that like burnt orange, deeper orange, honey orange color. You know, has some, there's some clarity, but there's a decent haze to it. You can see very fine particles. Just over a finger of this really creamy off-white colored head. It looks beautiful. Again, very zombie dust. Yeah. It honestly smells, it smells like it's just over 5 weeks old, but this smells like a super fresh zombie dust, like 2 or 3 weeks old. Has big bursts to me of like peach and apricot, but then a lot of like orange and grapefruit. Tons of citrus and like overripened stone fruit. But then it has that big blast of like this piney, slightly dank kind of quality. More pine than anything. A little bit of like a bready kind of malt base. Not really caramel, but more like bready, like white bread. Wow, it smells super fresh and just like in your face. There's a little bit of like a tangerine or like an orange juice quality. Now, as I go back, it just, listen, this smells awesome. It smells like zombie dust on steroids or zombie dust super, super fresh. That's what I'm getting out of the nose. Hopefully the taste lives up to what I'm hyping in my own brain. Cheers. Yeah. To me, this is a more boozy zombie dust. Maybe a little bit more intensity to the hop character, but it's a little bit boozy as well at 8.5. But really clean, it's, dare I say, a clean beer. Body on this one, higher side of medium, maybe like approaching low full, but more like higher side of medium, 8.5. It's fine. It's kind of right where it needs to be. The mouthfeel has a nice crisp, kind of like moderate carbonation to it. Really smooth on the palate though. Damn smooth. So body and mouthfeel are really nice. The taste, it's kind of the nose, about 95% in the taste. It's more citrus than stone fruits. I think in the nose, it was more stone fruit heavy for me, like peach and apricot, and kind of like overripe and sweeter. In the taste, it's more citrus. It's orange juice, tangerine juice. It's a ruby red grapefruit. A little bit sweeter, but also the pith along with maybe the rind kind of mixing in almost like an acidity too from the citrus fruits. More like a citrus oil at the forefront, like concentrated. As it passes through, a little bit of bready kind of malt character hits, dives underneath the palate. And then halfway through, I get a little bit of that peach and apricot I was talking about, but it's more like under-ripened or almost like perfectly ripened. It's not over-ripened. It's not sweeter. It's just kind of right in the stage where it's almost perfect to eat, right? It has a good balance. This finishes with a nice resinous pine kind of kick to it, but also has like a floral sensation as well. Finishes semi-dry with a mild to moderate bitterness, approaching more moderate. I feel like, to me, Zombie Dust was maybe a little bit bitter, a little bit more bitter. Maybe there's a little bit, because this is, 8.5 and Zombie Dust is 6.5, a little bit higher in alcohol, a little bit more malt being used. I think maybe a little less balanced in the taste. I should say a little bit more balanced in the taste from the malt character to the dryness and the bitterness. As I'm drinking it, there's like a pine sap, pine resin kind of building a little bit. So maybe this is approaching moderate bitterness, but I think because of the bigger malt bill and it's 8.5, you're just perceiving it, or I'm perceiving it to be a little bit more balanced and a little bit more malty. This is really damn good. Here's the thing. Would I, in a situation, find myself buying this over Zombie Dust personally? Probably not. I'm just being honest with you. Not for any other reason than nowadays I typically drink 1, maybe 2 beers a day. If I drink one of these, I'm done. If I drink a Zombie Dust 6.5, maybe I can sneak something else in there. Plus, I think for what I'm wanting out of something that is in the Zombie Dust realm, I think Zombie Dust kind of works better from what I'm going for. That said, as far as like a double pale ale goes, and this does drink, maybe that's where the kind of balance is a little bit more too, because a pale ale is typically, I find, not as bitter as like an IPA. If you put a 5.5% pale ale, 5.5% American IPA next to one another, the pale ale usually has a decent malt character that you notice and usually isn't as bitter as like an American IPA. Maybe that's what I'm noticing here at 8.5, which is why I always say Zombie Dust drinks like American IPA, because I don't usually notice the malt character as much in Zombie Dust. But anyway, I think this is damn good for a double pale ale at 8.5. There's a little, like I said, it's a little bit more boozy, obviously, than Zombie Dust, being 2 percentage points higher in ABV. But as I'm drinking on it, my palate's acclimated, a little warming in the chest, no astringent on the palate at this point, so I think I'm just kind of settling in. This is really, really good. Is it as good as Zombie Dust? I don't think so, for me personally. But it's not that far off. I used to give Zombie Dust 5 out of 5. Over the years, obviously, that has dropped a little bit as, hundreds of thousands of beers have been released and so many hot 4 beers. Zombie Dust to me is still in like a 4.5 to 4.6 range. Like, it's still a great American pale ale, IPA pale ale. But this isn't that far off. I just think my preference would always be Zombie Dust. So anyway, Zombie Ice, as you can see right here, Zombie Ice from 3 Floyds, Zombie Ice. But I'm gonna honestly have you look at this, because that is fantastic as far as artwork goes. I'm gonna give this right here, what do I wanna give this? I'm gonna give this, I think, a high 4.25. I'm gonna go 4.3 out of 5. I think that's where this lands. Again, it's about a quarter point less than Zombie Dust for me. But to be honest with you, I don't think you could go wrong with this. And I think 6-packs of this were like $14.99 in my area, so price and availability. It's like $15 a 6-pack for an 8.5% undead double pale ale, like really good value. And then availability, wherever you see 3 Floyds, this probably should show up at some point, if not already. By the time you see this review, probably about 6 weeks old. I don't know if this is going to be a limited release or something that's year-round, but if this is a year-round release, you'll see probably fresh cans of it roll out every once in a while. And I'd highly recommend grabbing this one if you like Zombie Dust, or you like older school, like American pale ales or double pale ales, or even like in the IPA realm. If you like hop forward beers from 10 years ago, this would be right in your wheelhouse, and I think it's a damn good beer. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Do you prefer this over Zombie Dust? Do you like Zombie Dust more than this? Again, I think I give Zombie Dust the edge, but at the end of the day, I can't argue that this is a well-crafted, quite tasty as far as a double pale ale goes. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. To the next one. Cheers.